Excuse me, everyone. This is the lightning talk session. Can you please raise your hand if you want to talk? You don't have to have anything prepared. You just have to have a desire to speak and need a couple of minutes. All right, so I'm going to go around and ask your name and how long you need in minutes, okay? What's your name?
Dave.
Dave? All right, Dave. Dave is good. And how long?
3-4 minutes.
I'll put 4. All right.
Put 5. Just to be
5?
polite.
All right.
I'm a professional at project estimation.
Okay. Yeah, definitely pad your estimate. Over there.
Hi, I'm Shajia. Do you want me to spell it?
S-H-A?
J-I-A-H.
A-H. Okay. And how long roughly do you need?
Like
1 minute?
yeah, because I'm reading.
All right. Sweet.
That's a lightning.
Who's next? All right. Ross. Okay. 1 to 2. I'll put 2. And Ian. Okay. 4.
We need an actual time column that's multiplied by 2.
All right. I'll keep that in mind. There's someone over there.
Does anybody in the room have a mini display port to VGA adapter? You do.
All right.
Fantastically. I could do either 5 or 10. I'd like to do 10, but I think we'll have to be
I'll put you down for 10. It doesn't look like a lot of people really want to talk. So I'm sorry. What's your name?
Zach.
Zach? Okay. Okay, next.
I'm 3 minutes pending.
3 minutes? All right.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Got plenty of time here. Anyone? All right.
Joel,
Joel?
1 minute.
Joel. 1. No. Any talk? All right. 1 minute. Jyoti, 1 minute. All right, next. Over there.
Cat in 5 minutes.
Cat. 5. All right. Over there.
Lemon, 6 minutes.
Lemon like the fruit?
Yes.
All right, thanks. Lemon 5. All right.
Well, I wanted 6. Don't underbid.
Oh, sorry. I'll change it.
3-5.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else?
Recap my past lightning talk.
Okay, sure.
All 70 seconds.
All right. Yeah, 70S. Well, then you go after all the 1 minute people. So you're actually choosing your order. All right. So if you come up with an idea and it looks like we're going to have time, just feel free to sneak over here. I'll leave the whiteboard marker. If you are speaking, we've been asked to use this little microphone. You can just hold it in your hand, and that actually just goes for the camera. But you still have to talk loud for the audience that's actually in the room, okay? And then we're going to go in order by time requested. So we'll do all the 1 minutes first, and then we'll get to the 70 seconds, and then go on from there, okay? So the first 1 minute is Shajia.
Oh, let's let Joel.
All right. No, that's fine, Joel.
I'll step up. That's fine.
All right. And talk into the mic if you can.
1 minute. Okay, go. Quick survey. Who here plays mobile games? Who here likes to donate to charity? Who here would use an app that said, today, if you spend money on this mobile game, they'll donate all that money to a charity? Shrugs, yes, no? Okay. If that idea is intriguing to you, please talk to me afterwards. It's something I've been brewing and working on for a little while, and I am looking for nonprofit participants. So there's no money involved. Don't get your hopes up, but that's my idea. So it's called simply Game Charity.
Very cool. Love it. All right. Shajia, it's your turn. If anyone is new, if you'd like to talk, just write your name and how many minutes you need, just on the whiteboard, or tell me, and I can write it. And just raise your hand and tell me, okay?
Okay.
Hi, my name is Shajia. My background is in web app pen testing, and I just wanted to talk about how security is important to your organization, and even just if you have your own application and why it's important to test it. And so what, if you guys don't know what penetration testing is basically you do a deep assessment of your application, essentially ethical hacking. So you hack your own application to identify the vulnerabilities and, fix them. And so another aspect of security is social engineering. So that's exploiting human trust to gain leverage into a company. So if you can have all like the best practices of your networks and all that, but if the human factor, if your employees aren't trained to know that they can't just let anyone walk through, all that security goes out the window, because then now they can access your data. So that's what I'm talking about.
Thank you so much. And our next 1 minute is Mr. Vegan Jyoti. Yep, there weren't too many 1 minute signups. And raise your hand if you'd like to talk and you're not on the list, okay? And I'll come by.
So how many of you care about your health? How many how many of you care about the environment? How many of you care about compassion and justice in the world? Well, if you do all that, if you care about the health, care about the environment, care about justice, please go vegan. How many of you have watched Forks Over Knives? Watch Forks Over Knives on Netflix or Amazon Prime. I'm not trying to promote Netflix or sell you Netflix. But I'm Jyoti Chawla. I'm a cancer nurse, and I work with electronic health records. I've been in IT most of my life, but I became a nurse after my mom died suddenly from heart disease. How many of you have lost a parent from heart disease or diabetes? So, heart disease is the biggest killer of women, and every day 2,000 people, like 4 jumbo jet crashes, equivalent 2,000 people every day die from heart disease. 1 in 3 women would be impacted by heart disease, and every 80 seconds, a woman dies from heart disease. And the problem with these things is that heart disease can be easily preventable. Watch Forks Over Knives. Whole food plant-based diet can prevent and reverse heart disease, diabetes, obesity, certain kinds of cancers, and all inflammatory diseases, including arthritis and osteoporosis. Forks Over Knives is a great documentary. What the Health is a new documentary come out. Find it on YouTube, and also Eating You Alive. I'm at Vegan Jyoti. You can email me at veganjyoti@gmail.com. I volunteer with Vegan Outreach, again in memory of my mom. And we give out these free booklets to people anywhere who want to learn about healthy eating. And so, again, if you care about your health, if you care about the environment, and if you care about justice and compassion, please go vegan. Namaste.
Thank you so much, Jyoti. And our next talk on the sign-up list is Paul. 70 seconds.
Yeah, but I need
Starting now.
I need the projector,
No,
so
just okay. You can have a few seconds extra, but
Need the projector. We'll see how this goes.
I think we are going to have some time at the end of this. So if anyone would like to talk, maybe start thinking about what you're going to talk about, and just raise your hand at any point, and I will take down your name so you can get on the sign-up sheet. Okay.
All right.
Hi there. I gave this talk at Minibar a few years ago when I noticed a really, really horrible, conspicuous typo in one of the session titles, and I thought, this must be fixable in a lightning talk. So here it is. The mistake is putting an apostrophe in a possessive it's. Oh. But are you nervous about this? Do you not want to get it wrong? There is an easy solution. If you are wondering whether to use it's with an apostrophe or it's with no apostrophe, rest easy. You ask yourself, what if it were a person? Or more specifically, what if it were a gendered person? So if you substitute he or she for it in the sentence, it will answer the question for you, and you don't have to understand grammar. For example, consider its implications. That sentence right there. Apostrophe or no apostrophe? Well, right. Well, if we were going to say he or she, let's see. Would you put an apostrophe in his or her? No, terrible. Don't use an apostrophe. If you wouldn't use it with his or her, don't use it with its either. Okay, it's going to rain. Yeah, because you'd say he's going to rain or she's going to rain. This trick works even if it doesn't make semantic sense. Our brains still intuitively understand the grammatical rules for he and she. And this trick, by the way, also works with they and their THEY''RE versus THEIR. You can use the same trick. That's it. If you want to delve into the topic of whether it's a good idea to enforce these rules, there's your reading. Thank you. Done.
All right, and it's going to be Ross up next. All right.
Hello, my name is Ross Harrison, recent graduate from the U of M Carlson School. I'm not really sure job-wise whether to go corporate or startup. I have a lot of ideas, but it's hard to solidify one. But one that I'm passionate about is called Surround, and it's basically making a universal Sonos. So we all have a Bluetooth speaker, but they can't connect to each other. And so I'm working with a couple software engineers, one that works at Cray, and another Starkey Bluetooth specialist that's helping me out. So anybody that likes sound or music or deals with software or small hardware with Arduinos or anything, talk to me afterward. Other than that, yeah, thank you.
Sweet, thank you, Ross. And next, I think, is Manoj. 2 minutes? All right.
Hi everyone, I'm Manoj. I'm currently pursuing my part-time MBA from Carlson School of Management, and I also work at Best Buy. One of the ideas that I've been pursuing is very close to my heart. There's 1.6 billion tons of paper that's getting wasted just for paper receipts. So digitalizing the paper receipts is something that I've been working on. So the idea is to actually eliminate the paper receipts. When you go to a store, if there is a technology at the retail store, instead of having it to send it to an email, so I'm creating an inbox where you can send it to receiptpocket.com, which is basically the name of the company I'm trying to start. So it could be manoj.pushpala@receiptpocket.com, and then we organize all the receipts, categorize it. We do coupon management, tie it up to loyalty rewards, and tie it up to the manufacturer so that you can get manufacturer rewards and so on. That's basically my idea, but I wanted to share this to see if I could get some feedback, or if you don't like the idea, please do contradict and please let me know. Thank you.
Okay, Brandon, 2 minutes.
Thank you, sir. All right. Hey, everyone. I'm Brandon Wetstein. And curiosity, ambition, and drive, I think, are things that everyone in this room has, right? These are the types of things that draw us to events like Minibar. We share in that passion. We share in that drive and that ambition. But I want to get more of it, right? How do I get more? How do I get more use out of my time so that I can get all the things that I want? So I've actually developed a prototype. I'm actually on my third version of a prototype over about 4 years. This started as a casual user innovation and has now become a product I've been working on that I believe has captured a way to enable people to manage their goals in a better way. And it does that with 3 key behavioral triggers. 1, it implements daily tracking. It's a little bit of work, but I believe I've simplified it and made it doable. 2, it pulls out personal analytics, and let's be honest, data is just fantastic. The more we can get, the better. Good data. And then 3, we pile in a little bit of peer accountability just to help keep us honest, keep us motivated, and down the right track. So if this sounds interesting to you, I'd love to show it to you and get any feedback you'd care to share. Thank you.
Very cool. And next, we have one of the Ians.
I don't like cable.
No cable?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's like from the phone. Well, I could swing it if someone can loan me both their laptop and let me access.
All right. We can get I can loan laptop. All right. Sweet. So while we're getting set up, if you read the session description, you learned that lightning strikes the Earth 100 times per second and at up to 1 billion volts. I have a trivia question. How much energy is in a billion volts?
Some number of joules.
Yeah, volts aren't a unit of energy. It could be a billion volts at a trillionth of an amp, and it would not be very much energy. But it isn't. Don't get struck by lightning, okay? It really is not a small amount of energy, but it's a couple hundred amps. So. Yes, very short duration. There are people who have tried to make power plants by harvesting lightning. It doesn't work very well. I mean, this is blowing your mind, I'm sure, but.
Well, that's what lightning does.
And how much research on lightning did you do before this talk?
Quite a bit. Well, I had to write that whole session description. I read the entire Wikipedia page, which is very comprehensive. Yeah. Yeah.
This is going to be a test of my ability to use this trackpad, so we'll see. That is a silly, I don't think I'm actually that cool. That is ironic. Sunglasses. How do I go down?
Here's the mic, though.
Oh, right, yeah.
If you don't mind.
Yeah, so if I can just scroll, maybe that would be. Is there like a trick to this? Yeah. Okay. And now it has. Yeah. The browser didn't have focus. Okay. This is gonna be interesting because it's all about clicking links. So we'll see how that goes. All right. Let's try and get to my lists. Oh, wait. Yeah. Maybe I should. Oh no! But they're public lists. Yeah. This is what I want to do on my phone, where it's like all set and stuff. That's not working. So not on Twitter. Sign up. Yeah. Is it? Have you like memorized or something? We're really. This is. So this is a good 3 minutes. I enjoyed this. Yeah, it's gonna ask me to authenticate. This is, oh, hey, maybe. Yeah. Is that all right? Yeah. All right. All right. Right tab, open link in new tab. Right click, open in new tab, please.
Follow yourself.
Oh man, it's my big narcissistic. Should I do that? Is that okay? I'm just gonna just make that happen. Yeah. Is that okay? Yeah. Oh, my crowning achievement of narcissism. It's happened. It's all downhill narcissism from here. All right, so I enjoy making Twitter bots and also following Twitter bots. I think most folks probably know what like a bot is, but just in case, it's just like a little program that runs and spits out stuff. And there's a lot of stuff on Twitter that is not people, but little robots spitting out programs like this. So we'll do my stuff that I made first because it's like not as cool as like the big league bots. So we'll work up to the cool shit. But I'm kind of fond of this one. So this is Infinite Hot Dog Stand. So it takes like it generates random Windows 3.1 color themes, just like forever, basically. It takes like, there's this site called Color Lovers, which is like this old school site where people share color palettes. So it's downloading from that, and yeah, so it's pretty cool. This is a Twin Peaks animated GIF bot that I created that automatically creates Twin Peaks GIFs from the show. It takes like parses through every single like subtitle file in Twin Peaks and makes a GIF out of it. There's a lot of those. I'm going way over 3 minutes. This is my first bot, Dystopian Bar Camp, which is apropos. So I made it for Minibar like 3 or 4 years ago. And it's just, it's kind of a social commentary on some talks, but it's just like, what if this conference was like actually happening in a dystopian mirror dimension? What would that look like? So this one says 5 marketing points to tackle before your black uniforms. There's probably some better ones there, but. I have actually, so I scraped a bunch of William Gibson and what's the dude who did Minority Report and Philip K. Dick, mostly Philip K. Dick, like corpus, and I just like scraped for noun, like interesting noun pairs, and so it's seeding based off of that, plus like this session titles from here, as well as a couple of other unconferences like this. So it kind of mashes them together with just like a simple, it just replaces nouns from one thing into the other. Let's see, so The Great Escape from the Not So Great Telepathic Aura, Python HTML5 Vast 3D Photograph, discussion, yeah. So some good stuff. And did I just lose all of my deals? So there's some things there. cloud every noun, which just goes through the dictionary randomly, cloud this, cloud that. So cloud scoop. So that's a good one. This is like halcyon days where we thought we could change the outcome of things via Twitter bots. A Trump-Pence logo generator. Yeah, that's a popular one. That has 3 followers. That's not something that people want to see, really. Yeah, so anyway, I have some more stuff in there, but it doesn't tweet as often, and I'm not going to go looking for it. That's some stuff. But there's also, I know I'm going like way over now. Wrap this up, but okay. So these are some cool bots that I follow that I'm a fan of. This one is not that cool. Oh, I haven't seen Wizard Generator in forever. So on my main feed, this is just like generates random wizard characters through some sort of like weird grammar or something. So like you see all kinds of different randomly created wizards. I like this one, not a robot. Greetings, meatbag. I am a fellow human. And various iterations of that. What? Oh, I don't know that one. I should check that out. This one's really cool, tiny. Oh, I think this was in a talk earlier, actually. Tiny Spires is an excellent one. It's just like generative, like random, well, not exactly random, but pseudo-random versions of this kind of art style, this like little world it creates. I'm trying to find my favorite one. This one's interesting. It's using emoji to generate CS people, a Linden, Paul Cantrell knows what it is, and I don't. It just creates weird, random, like designs seeded by emoji somehow.
Twitter thinks it's in Indonesian.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, it's just, on this one it does. All right, I'm almost done. I just wanted to find my favorite one. Where'd you go? Oh, it's not. Oh, this one tweets a lot. Oh, this one's kind of cool. It takes go back, up. It's a little hard to see maybe on the screen, but 3 desert. Desert. It takes random things from, I think, Thingiverse, 3D models, and composites them together, and you get this weird, like, overlay, like, sort of, I don't know, art, I don't know what you would call it, like, it has, like, a 90s vibe to me somehow, like, weird, washed-out pastel stuff. There's a really good one, I really want to end on that one, Pixel Sorting the Universe graph. Where is that one? Oh, this one just tweets so much. Oh, come on. No. That one's cool. Okay, ominous zoom. Okay, I'll just end. That's a fun one too. Ominous zoom, so it just takes random pictures and zooms in on them in an ominous way. So it's like, what is that window? Hey, what is that window up? What is going on there? So yeah, all right. Thanks for indulging me. Thanks. Thanks, folks. You can unfollow me.
Yeah.
Thanks, Johnny, for letting us.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right, and the next, it will be another Ian, I think, unless I wrote the same Ian down twice. Is there another Ian in the house? All right, sweet.
All right, hi, I'm Ian. I'm going to talk to you about how technology companies fail. It occurred to me earlier today that I've worked at a bunch of companies that failed or were failing in some fashion. And since I'm a Rails consultant and I might potentially want you to hire me, that's probably a terrible thing to tell you. It's not convincing at all that I'm a trustworthy person. But I don't always mean necessarily that they all went out of business, but all these companies, or many of these companies, failed to meet their business objectives in some fashion, and technology was at least part of that story. So I'm going to tell you about 4 different ways in which companies fail, and if we're lucky, maybe I'll have a little bit of advice about like how you could avoid those ways, but who knows, it's lightning talk, so maybe that won't happen. Number 1 is the company that just doesn't like plan at all for your technology. I think pretty much everyone has seen this. It's hard to work in tech for more than a year without running into this. It's the company where all decisions are made based just on reacting to whatever is happening at that exact moment. And all the technology team does is just react. This goes bad very quickly. It's a mess. Everyone can tell it's a mess. It's very easy to like understand that this is bad. And there's really no trade-offs to fixing it. You always want to fix this. There's no like downside to fixing this. But I think the simplest way to fix it is to basically make those trade-offs explicit. So when you talk to the stakeholders, you don't just say, like, okay, you need this thing right now, I get it, it's very important, we'll do it. You say, okay, you need this thing right now, it's very important. Remember last month when we talked about your vision and how you want us to go? This takes a week off of that. Like, we're going to be a week later to getting to this thing that you want because we're now reacting to this. Are you okay with that? And then it's just yes or no. And that makes them, that allows them to make the decision in a slightly more formal way, which I think is nice. Number 2 way that companies fail, if the developers aren't really invested. If your developers are just kind of doing what they're told to do, like somebody just says, we're doing this now, and the developers say, okay, we do this now, that's okay, you get along for a while. But I think that you're going down a path where your technology decisions are not necessarily going to be the right ones. Your technology is not going to be particularly well suited. You're not going to catch mistakes early, and your developers are also just not going to be that excited about their job, and so they're not going to do that great work. They're going to leave, et cetera, et cetera. So I think having your developers have enough context to understand and having them be part of the decision-making process is important. Because I mean, like, we're smart, we don't know, like, all the sales and marketing and stuff, but we can still contribute our perspectives to it, and if we have the information to see why decisions are made, we'll generally like these decisions better and feel better about them, and we can sometimes identify problems that you would otherwise not see coming. Okay, the final 2 ways that they can fail are closely related. One is you build faster than you sell, and the other is you sell faster than you build. Selling faster than you build, I think, is pretty common. What happens is you build a product, people like it, that's great. It starts to take off. You start to do business. You start to get customers. You have to add a bunch of stuff to get those customers to support all this stuff. You've got more traffic. You got to scale up. You're very, very busy. Your tech team is very busy. It's hard to add people because of the whole man-month thing. And so you get a lot of technical debt. And then things just slow down and down and down. And this can last for 5 years where you're just development just gets slower and slower and slower. You add fewer and fewer new features. Everything goes stale. Your users are unhappy because your site, you don't push updates anymore. You aren't reacting to their needs anymore, and so on. So it's good to take time to build and to try to manage your selling. Oh, I'm out of time. I'm going to grace myself 30 minutes. Or 30 seconds. Not 30 minutes, that would be very rude. On the other hand, it is possible actually, and there's one company I work for in particular that did a really good job of building their technology, and then in the end we just hadn't actually sold it well enough. So we had this really nice product, it was well architected, it was ready to scale, and we just hadn't done the work of selling and ran out of money and just couldn't keep going because the money was gone and we hadn't made sales. So obviously you can go wrong in either way. I think the one little piece of advice I have to balance these two is I think plan to throw things out. Plan to, that you're going to have to replace all of your technology at some point, and so you make that as easy to do. So that way, when you have that junky thing that it's kind of outlived its usefulness, you rip out a component and you put something new in, and you can continue to grow that way. But you don't have to plan it all ahead of time and fail to sell like that. There we go. That's my talk.
Awesome.
Thanks.
All right, and next we have Dave. Do you have slides?
No.
Okay.
I could use a whiteboard marker.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Got one right here. Red is a really good color for this.
Sweet.
Okay, so I'm Dave Stagner. I've worked in this industry for a couple of decades now, and I've learned some things. One of the things I learned is why software sucks. Start. All software sucks, and this is why. This is an imaginary line. Over here, let's write something people can't read. Barely works. Lots of software lives over here. Over here. Doesn't work. Now, when you start a software project, you start here. Okay, we've got an idea. Well, okay, let's run the generators. Oh, look, Rails starts. Okay, we've got a project. Barely works. Now let's start adding some features and functionality. And oops. okay, well, we broke it. Well, let's add some unit tests. We'll figure out why it broke. We'll fix it. Hey, look, now it barely works again. Let's add more features. Okay, well, you keep adding more features. Maybe you break it again. And then it doesn't work. And then you come back over here and you're like, well, let's build some scaffolding. Let's add a better database. Let's do whatever. We will make this software sturdy enough to take more features. Great. Now it barely works. Now we'll keep adding features. And it doesn't work anymore. And now you got this decision to make. Okay, do we keep working on it? Okay, well, that puts you back in this cycle. Or do we abandon it? And now it's a dead project and we screwed up and failed. This is the fate of a lot of projects. I got a better idea. Hey, why don't we sell it? We find dumb enough customers, they'll buy it even if it's broken. But what happens if after cycle of this, you finally get, well, we fixed all our features. This software does everything we ask it to do. And it barely works. Awesome. Hey, let's start making the software much better. Let's add more scaffolding. Let's fix all the security flaws. Let's make sure the tests work. Works well. Nobody does that. Because you're here and you've just spent the last 3 years working on this project and now it barely works and it's done. And do you say, hey, finally we can fix all the bugs? No, you're like, I don't ever want to look at that piece of crap again. We made so many mistakes. We did so much dumb nonsense. We're going to start a new project. We'll have a new product, and this time we're not going to make those mistakes. This time it's not going to suck.
All right. Those are some wise words from Dave. And our, I've been there. I've tried to rewrite things too many times. And next we have Kat. Kat? All right. Do you need to plug in?
I'm going to plug in.
All right. Sweet.
I'm so happy you did that, Dave, because I'm going to actually, spin off of your drawings right now. So, thank you.
Open source.
And here's the microphone if you, this goes to the camera.
Does it work? Does it work?
Not in the room, it's just for the camera.
Oh, okay. Let's see here.
Apparently, in the old days of Apple, the highest compliment you could give code was "that doesn't suck." That was real praise.
Is this working? Oh, I think I need to change this. Let's see, play. Does play work? Ooh, okay. Okay. Bear with me, everybody. This is a 25-minute talk I'm preparing to give next week, and the natural cutoff point is about 5 minutes in, and it leaves it somewhat ominous. But the next 20 minutes actually have hope and aren't so awful, but I'm going to just leave you at a happy place, I think. And maybe to describe how this is super relevant is to kind of go off of what you said here. Barely works, doesn't work, barely works, doesn't work. Cryptography never appears to barely work and never appears to doesn't work. It always is just kind of appearing to work, sort of. Like we have some plain text and look, I can't read it anymore. It works. So it doesn't really fit in this build, test, build, test, build, test model until somebody breaks it and then everything is crap. So maybe that helps people understand. Yay. Okay. So my name is Kat Traxler. I'm transitioning to my hacker handle, Nanook. So if you would like to call me that, please, you can help me with my transition. Additionally, I spend my time doing web application penetration testing. In addition, I have some relevant background in building mean stack applications. This is where I really acquired my love for all things JavaScript. It's the kind of love people have when they see severe weather approaching and they want to run outside and watch the lightning. Like, that's the kind of love I have for it. I don't claim JavaScript's a perfect language, or really even a good one, but I found a home in its ecosystem. And JavaScript's enabled me to be what you call a cryptography tourist, right? I'm not a domain expert. I'll never be a domain expert. I know enough to know I will never know cryptography well. But like any tourist, I'm really eager to see the sights while on holiday. Turns out I didn't have to go very far to see any of the cryptography sites because cryptographic systems have come to the browser. And really, that's the home of JavaScript. And it's really exciting for me. Cryptography in our browsers has expanded well beyond TLS. JavaScript is now getting in the game, and it's being enlisted to do some heavy lifting. There's implementations such as the Stanford JavaScript Cryptographic Library and other libraries like Forge.js. They sought to show that there's no reason you can't program cryptographic primitives in just plain JavaScript. But there's some glaring security gaps with these libraries that can't be overcome with pure JavaScript, including the lack of any source of secure random in JavaScript. Additionally, JavaScript has no concept of strong binding, no way to validate its dependencies, no private properties, no protected namespace. All attempts to protect their variables are just through some unique closure techniques. Furthermore, I'm not discussing JavaScript. I'm discussing JavaScripto as it exists in your browser. JavaScript cryptography for the web, programmed in plain JavaScript, is bound by the JavaScript runtime environment, which is missing an obvious, safe, secure key storage mechanism. But don't worry, now that the browser is your new OS, we're fated with JavaScript to be our new C. That's it.
Very cool. Thank you so much, Kat. I can't wait to see the 25-minute version. Where's that going to be?
Milwaukee.
Oh, okay. Never mind. All right. Next, can I have Lemon? Is that your name?
What?
Is that your name or your
That is my
and
name.
your shirt?
What?
Is that a lemon?
Lemon grab's a good character.
It is.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you don't mind just talking.
No, I don't. I'm gonna force some diligence on myself too.
All right.
There we go. Hi, I'm Lemon. I'm a front-end developer and also a lead developer. So a lot of time my job involves building client websites, and that workflow goes that I put together an HTML site prototype, template in. I use Sass and Pug myself. That's just what I like. It's really fast to get things up. Then I go through hundreds of thousands of meetings where people have opinions and they share their opinions, and then finally we're ready to go, and we're terrific, and we're going to get this thing off the ground, but it's going to need a CMS. And so I put together a CMS, and then the client says, we want WordPress. And then I take a minute outside and relax, and I come back and I say, why do you want WordPress? Well, I've worked in WordPress before. That's great. I'm so happy for you that you've worked in WordPress before. We're going to try something else today. That conversation sometimes doesn't go the way that I want it to go. Then the site gets hacked and turns into pornography. True story. Multiple times. Also, sometimes the Palestinian flag and the Justin Derulo song Wiggle, Wiggle, Wiggle. That's also happened. And that is frustrating, but one of the things that's nice about that is that you do actually get to say I told you so to the client. because they're not happy when they have to pay that second bill to get that site back on the rails. But when you say, well, you did want to go with WordPress, anyway. For those of you that haven't explored that much, I mean, I've gone through and I've done stuff in Drupal, which is fine. Like Concrete 5, I did actually like a lot for a little while. But one day I was listening to a Shop Talk show, and they had this guy on, and he developed this thing called Kirby, which is a flat file CMS, which is like one of the cool things now, is that they're databaseless. They're actually reading everything off of YAML files. And for me, as a front-end developer, someone that's terrified of databases, I don't understand how they work. Like, in my mind, I think it's a table, like it's an Excel file, I think. That's all I know about databases. And so the idea that you can actually put together these flat file CMSs without a database, so that when things screw up, you actually know where your files are, and the fact that these CMSs are young enough that there's not dependencies, you don't have to be writing WordPress, you're actually writing PHP, is for me very, very wonderful. There's another one, Kirby is the one that I use. There's another one called Grav, which is the free version. And they're great. And so if you have the reason to put together a CMS and you want control, look around, because there is a bunch of really interesting ones that are smaller, tighter, and better for me. That's all.
That was super fast. That was, yeah, way ahead of time. Back when I was in high school, I had a side business making websites using a CMS that just read files that I made myself. It was terrible code, but everything old is new again, I guess. So, all right, and our last talk is Zach. Do you need a second to set up? All right. Nanook, what's your Twitter handle?
Nanook.
Is it Nanook?
No, I
Is that from like wasn't there a movie like Nanook of the North? Yeah. All right.
How many people saw the VR talk earlier? So I'm not going to repeat anything because we did 3 live demos. There are plenty of slides left. But I'm just going to focus on the videos and convince all of you in this room that you're going to take some of these projects home and experiment on your loved ones. And you don't need VR hardware to do it. Mm-hmm. With these new experiments that you're not aware of yet, you can continue your own experiments as needed. Did I do this right? Oop, there's an extra slash. Does that look pretty good? So that's where you're going to come find the slides on the tweeters with minibar hash something mini star. Right? Looks pretty good? There that goes. That's not me, that's my kid. He's doing VR on a trampoline in our backyard. Everybody's like, did he die? Did he throw up? It's totally fine. If you grow up on a trampoline, you've bumped heads with your siblings, and that's about it. You've got an innate balance. You know how to stay in the middle. There's a net. He was fine. He got done. He said, can I go play Halo now? So I'm just going to real quickly just hit those things that we missed. Just a couple of fun videos. Let me start a clock. I got one on there, 2:43. Okay. This is me. I'm Zach, and most people know me from running the MNVR and HCI group for the last 4 years. Prior to that, I ran IGDA, Twin Cities, International Game Developers. I work at Optum, and the interesting parts of my job are VR and AR. HoloLens for the last 6 months. I can't talk about that. I can talk about the tech. I can't talk about the projects. All this stuff on the right is stuff that happens outside of work with trampolines, swing sets, monkey bars. This is VR soccer on the moon, so you can kick like about a mile. And there's controllers strapped to the shoes there, mocap suits, that kind of stuff. So I'm obviously really interested in kind of the input side of it, the technology for tracking and motion. And I'm a programmer, not an artist. And it turns out psychology is very interesting too. If I had known, I would have taken a second class in college. In particular, perceptual psychology is something I've had to learn about the last 4 years. So this is actually critical to VR. we've all grown up looking at screens and ignoring huge portions of our brain that are here to do spatial tasks, work with our inner ear for balance and all kinds of other things. The take-home experiments are at the end of the slide deck, right here. Hang on. Well, that's awfully small now. We do have slides about medical applications and pain management, and that's explicitly things I can't talk about today. I thought I was supposed to talk about those, but we ran out of time. Right there. What have I done to my browser? I don't know. Let's just hit, was it Control P? No. What's Control P do? All right. Yep. There we go. I want that. Okay. The rubber hand illusions, anybody heard that or seen that or experienced that? A few people? Okay. Fovea detector. Has anybody actually seen the bounds of their foveal region, the part that can see detail? So there's software that easily lets you see that. The paper dragon illusion, where it looks like it's moving its head and looking at you. Has anybody done that? A couple. You're all going to do that either tonight or better when you go to work Monday at that sweet color laser printer. Get some scissors and tape. And then remote control human using galvanic vestibular stimulation. How many people? Just one? Just one? We'll start with that then. And yeah, you don't want to do that at home, and you probably don't want to do that at all. I wouldn't recommend it. But this company called NTT in Japan, it's their biggest phone conglomerate / mafia, brought this to SIGGRAPH way back in 2007, 2009. Sound's not working here, but I'll translate. You just essentially put electrical current behind your ear, where your vestibular organs are, and it disrupts them, and you lose your balance, and you kind of stagger to that side to regain your balance. So some smart guy over there figured out, well, if I do this to my friends while they're walking, I can steer them because they will stagger. And here's how the demo goes down. You sign the waiver, they put a battery pack on your hip, and they're like, if it hurts, turn this way. Do not turn this way, as that's the power control for the electrode. And they go to your friend and hand him the thing, and they tell you to start walking, and then they tell him to push the joystick, and it goes like this. Well, I'm a little ahead of myself. A lot of bowing. He's not controlling that at all. You can't stop it. At best, you can. Oh, many commercial applications. Here's a video game where as you enter a corner, it doesn't feel like G-forces, but it feels like you're losing your balance every time you go in a corner. And there's a little sharp pain behind your ear. I don't think they're going to show the second one, which is my favorite, a music video that forcibly makes you bob your head. You could try to fight it, but you can't really. And I don't even remember the third one. I was just done at that point. But here's why you don't want to do it. That was actually pretty great. 3 hours later, I'm just standing on the show floor, and all of a sudden I got to grab a table so I don't hit the deck because you have vertigo flashbacks. I had one. My friend had 4. He was angry with me. But nothing the second day. Oh, here, yeah, it's great for public safety because if you're going to walk in front of a car, then maybe another person could steer you out of the path of the car. Yeah, so anyway, it hasn't been commercialized, even though it came out there 2007. The really fast, yeah, I got 5 minutes in. Vestibular system, inner ear, and visual system, both are used for balance. So when there's a disagreement, most people get sick. You get car sick if you're reading a book and you feel all this motion on your ears, but it looks stationary. The disagreement makes you sick. The working theory is that's to primitive man, lizard brain. That's a good signal you ate a poisonous hallucinogenic mushroom kind of thing, and you want to eject that from your body and hope for the best. For VR, it's the opposite. You have all this visual input saying that you're moving or tilting, and your ear says, I'm sitting in a chair, I'm standing still, and you get sick. This doesn't join together until you're about 2 years old and you're working on walking. So those great people, those child psych experimenters, made this room on a track, And you can do this at home, make a room on a track. And it will work on people under the age of 2. And it's not joined together. Your balance is only visual until you figure this out. So then all you simply do, and this has got a great British accent, and the researcher moves the wall, and the child falls. And again. Cutting ahead, they put an adult in there. This won't make you fall. You'll go, whoop, and then your ear kicks in and says, no, we're fine. And that's the exact same thing if you're in a train or a car and everybody else goes and you don't. You feel like you went backwards for just a second, a fraction of a second. Right at the end here, she clues in and she like turns around and gives the evil eye to the researcher. But if you are in a difficult balance task that your inner ear can't help you with, so you're on one foot or you're hopping, then visuals can take over yet again. And here's the guy that doesn't fall until he's on one foot. The modern version of this, if you don't want to build a whole room that moves, you do that in VR. And it looks just like this. Oh no, oh good. These are experienced developers that have done hours and hours and in VR. They don't get sick anymore, yet they still cannot balance when the whole world tilts on you suddenly. So this is a way that you can torture your friends, get a standard Unity scene, any random one, and just instead of attaching the joystick to the game, attach it to the world, and just make people fall down. Let's get a couple more of those. Yeah, it's worth watching the whole thing and laughing. And the rubber hand illusion, if you haven't seen it, essentially you are replacing the arm visually with a rubber one in this case. You're doing some stimulation with a paintbrush, touching the fake hand and the real hand, and then you hit the fake one with a hammer. Just that act of it being plausibly in the right position. It doesn't need to be accurate. You put your hand, real hand, behind a wall. You put a rubber one or a coat and a glove that would make sense to be in that position. And then you touch them both. They see the visual touch on the glove. They feel the touch. Your brain takes ownership of this thing that's not your arm. And then you get out the hammer and you wail on it. And people have a fight or flight response. Some people get ready to punch the guy. And they're like, oh, I'm okay. And other ones, like flail and fall backwards. Did this in VR as well for the Game Jam 2 years ago. Works even better in VR. Plus, you don't need to use a hammer. We used a meat cleaver. And that's available online. Last one is the fovea detector. There will be some people at a certain distance in this room. This only works when it's at the right scale. There's just a number that you tweak in there. When you look in the center, you will see no motion on the edges. It's only going to work for one distance in here. I don't know if anybody's seen that. Is there anybody? Yeah, about in the middle. You can just fire this up at home. It's this wonderful, wonderful site called Shader Toy, where you write GLSL shaders over here, and you run them there. And you just tweak this number at the top that says scale, and hit play, and then it fires up right in your browser. And it works on Mac, PC, everything. So those are all linked in the slides. The slides are on the tweeters. And any quick questions? Oh, here's what that dragon looks like. This is why you want to build it. That's paper. Swear to God, that's paper. And it froze. There it goes. That's why it works. Even after you know the reason it works, you can't not see it. We are super hard-coded to what faces look like and that they should be lit from the top. Yeah, the Wi-Fi broke. And if it's not working, look with one eye. There's a chance that you're close enough to see the stereo giveaway. And if the lighting is too much from the top, this is inverted, you actually want it either equally lit or lit from below. And that's a good time. All right. Yeah, and if you want to see more of this kind of thing, talk about more of this kind of thing, find me outside, or I broke my deck again. We have, there's a bunch of design reasons you want to do that. IGDA group. MNVR shares the email list with them, so you sign up for either, you get invites to both, and an upcoming convention you got VR and a bunch of games.
All right. Thank you so much to the audience and to our speakers, Dave, Shajia, Ross, Ian, Zach, Ian, Joel, Jody, Kat, Brendan, Lemon, Paul, and Manoj. This has been amazing. This is my favorite part of Minibar every year. And we're just about 4 minutes late, so.
Where's it at? Yeah, and there's one. No, that's a verbal
Thank you for giving.
Oh yeah, of course.
Schedule, scope, resource. Once worked on a project, resources. Never make it again.
It might have been just in like the first.
Oh yeah, of course.